I elicited. This is the morning show that happens Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. We discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, finance, entertainment, gaming, and everything in between. I'm your host, Pio, here with my co-host, Nifty Nick, the funniest man in the business, very prone to physical reactions to audio shifts. Signal, the host or the co-host of the show and the author of the Nifty Daily Digest. You can subscribe at thenifty.com. You got to do it. King Kicks, who definitely has to pop onto the YouTube show, the CEO of Crypto Raiders, the intelligent degenerate, the guy that lets it fly. Easy Eats Bodega, the host of GM Market Talk, among other shows, and the founder of Bodoggos, soon to hit a blockchain near you. We got the Nifty Portal account on stage. Make sure you give that a follow, because you know that's going to be intertwined into all the stuff that we have popping up. And last but not least, we have Bunny on stage. Bunny, it says your kid sucks at Dookie Dash.
He's terrible, Pio. He can't score more than a couple hundred.
Would you say that you're depending on him to get good so that you can make generational wealth?
Well, I'm not very good. Oh, Jesus, hold on.
Nice, man.
Kid heard him talking shit.
No, that's the other kid. She's not old enough to play Kicks. Nice try.
We also have Spencer, the founder of Spencer Ventures, representing for institutional capital in the NFT space. Got a juicy show to dive into today. Easy's going to be back shortly. But before I go any further, Nifty Nick, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Playing a quick round of Dookie Dash here live on the show. So, I was taking advice from Spencer, who last night was 7th on the leaderboard. I'm assuming that went away after the hired full-time gamers started playing. But I'm curious to hear more about that position. I'm also feeling a little bit of seller's regret after selling my tier 4. And right now we're off by 1.5 ETH. So that's where I'm at right now. Spencer, are you still holding in the top 10 spot?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think I'm even in the top 50 spot anymore.
Yeah. It was you had some good advice there, but I assume that these player DAOs are now running up the score.
They've probably hired speedrunners that have been, their brain has literally been trained for this exercise over the last 10 years. Speed running, tempo run style games. They're all booked up. They're like, a very exclusive vacation spot in winter. A nice summer island in the winter time. It's all booked up. You can't get any of those people.
I'm not gonna lie. I rushed to hit send on that thread last night. I was like, man, I don't know how long I'm gonna be a top 10 player for. For now, that's true. It was true when I hit send. It is not true anymore.
Are you in the top 100?
I need to check actually. Probably.
How much time have you been playing for?
I got my high score run on like my maybe like 10th or 20th try.
The problem with this game, and I noticed last night, I played for about 20 minutes. I got up to like 55,000 was my top score, which isn't like
that's good. That's
bad.
Good based on the numbers I've been seeing. That's respectable, Nick.
But
still hitting shots with a tier 1 too.
With the tier 1, not with the tier 4. I got rid of that tier 4 stupidly. The tier 4. I'm curious, like what that boost is that the tier 4 gives you, like how significant that was. Like Spencer, did you use the tier 4 when you were playing?
Oh yeah, I use a tier 4 with like poopy boost or whatever for 2 ape coin.
And that's how you got that top score?
Yeah, the 2 ape coin boost is like incredibly valuable because, and they kind of faked you out. So they said it was 15% boost, which is true. That's not a huge deal. The huge deal is the increased frequency of the rare fragments. That is a huge deal because like I would say 50% of your overall score comes from the fragments.
So 90% of my score came from those.
Yeah. So like the increased of
it's good monetization.
Like,
well done game.
I think you get probably like 40 to 60% boost from paying the 2 ape coin.
So it's necessary. It's necessary to go for a top run. And that's the thing. That's why tier 4s probably will maintain their value, if not go up, is because what's going to happen is as soon as like, eventually, like the range where top scores is going to be in, right, is going to start to kind of concentrate, right? And like people are really going to be trying to hit that one outlier score that'll make them rank like top 10. All of those people are going to need like a tier 4 pass plus the ape coin boosts. And you're basically rolling the dice as a super talented player, or if you've hired a super talented player, you're just saying like, basically, I hope that we get a little bit of luck, a lot of skill, get pocket aces, win the hand. So tier 4 is going to have perpetual demand for like the top people. Like I got 2 tier 1 passes yesterday, and I'm like, if I play the game or get my awesome video gaming brother to play the game, and he can rank really high, and then I go get a tier 4 pass? Probably, right? Because then you could get a really rare roll for the mint.
Well, there's also, yeah. So that's the real question: is what's the actual imputed value of a rare mecha? Is what we're now assuming is going to drop, despite
Think
the
about
fact.
this: if like 2 people are very talented at this game and one is 10% better, if the other one just has a tier 4 pass, doesn't matter. It's impossible to beat them. So like when you're,
I'd also,
yeah,
I would also say, like, if you had someone, if you like, imagine this, you get like a 250,000 point score with a tier 1. Like, if you had a tier 4 with a boost, you would have gotten the key. Like, how frustrating would that be to get like a close to top score, but not top score with any other setup than a tier 4 with a boost? And this is what I was saying like yesterday on the show, was like, I'm stacking tier 4 passes and tier 1 passes exclusively, but mostly tier 4 passes.
Well, there's also a dynamic here. The price pressure on ApeCoin is quite fascinating, because if you're using like a player DAO or something like that, and you got like a bench of top players that are playing this game, you're gonna just basically spend the ApeCoin every single time. Like that, like
who said ApeCoin was gonna have some buying pressure yesterday? This guy. I was horribly wrong about the prices, but spot on with the coin.
but here's my question: is how much of will it actually be spot buying versus a lot of the people playing or in these DAOs are probably staking Bored Ape assets and they're already getting ApeCoin coming in, so they're just going to potentially cycle that into the game.
But if you don't think there's going to be a flywheel of the token over EV2 and EVO3, I think you're like,
it could be.
You know, like
sure.
I think there's going to be a flywheel for it.
I think you guys are incredibly wrong about this. I think that this is a total nothing burger for ApeCoin if you just do the math, right?
But didn't you just say you were spending ApeCoin?
Yeah,
you're not the only one.
I am spending ApeCoin, but it's two. It's 2 ApeCoin. Like, this is the thing. Like, how many people do you think are playing this game, right?
There's 9,000. There's 9,000 current players. About
9,000 current players.
2
how many
ApeCoin
times
per
are they going
run.
to boost? Two per 10 minutes.
Go ahead, Slick. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but easy as well. You don't want to put a load on ApeCoin because the barrier to entry is already the pass. So it doesn't actually make sense to make it like, 50 ApeCoin or however much ApeCoin is right now.
Microtransactions add up. That's the thing.
They do. Yeah, that's my point. So it's better that they have it in volume with the passes rather than loading like ApeCoin as the power up.
So Spencer's coming in hot, spending $10 here. Is that right?
So,
yeah.
So,
no, but like, here's the thing, right? Like, there's 9,000 players. Let's say that all of them did 10 boosts, which I think that's a huge overestimate, right? We're talking about like 30,000, maybe 100,000 ApeCoin.
US dollars spent yesterday on it.
In Ape?
So here's the numbers that I would use. I would not do it by the total number of players. I'd say that basically the real question is, how many do we think, like how many player DAO players do we think that there are, and how often are they playing, and what percentage of the time are they actually spending ApeCoin? So let's say that 1,000 of them are some sort of player DAO or something like that. The term I'm using player DAO just to represent pro players who are basically going at least 8 hours a day, basically playing this game. So let's say that there's 1,000 of those. If you're playing, each game session lasts, let's say that you play, I don't know, 15 session. It's more than that, but call it 20 an hour. I think feels like a reasonable amount. So you're at 20 per hour times 1,000 people, which is 20,000 per hour, and call that times 8. Let's round that down. So let's call that 100,000 per day. I think 100,000 times 2 ApeCoin. So 200,000 ApeCoin per day is the number. Now, what's the volume of ApeCoin per day?
Easy, didn't you say that they have the numbers live?
Someone just shared it as well. It's 60. They spent 68,000 USD on the game yesterday alone.
But I think we should back up and say this is amazing. This is the first time we're actually seeing a use for a coin that comes out of a project. Y'all,
I think it's going to be a flywheel. I think we're going to continue to see more use, which causes buying pressure. I'm not saying right now the coin's going to go up 300%, but
you
at $5. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean that's okay. You win.
Actually, if you look at his price targets, it's exactly $12.
And another aspect of this, in addition to seeing the first time that you've seen the use case for the token, is actually this gamified drop. To me, is the thing that's interesting. And someone tweeted this morning that was like, and we haven't even shouted out anyone in the community, but who cares about them? In terms of that's what Ryan always says. I like that.
Nick, I thought I taught you this. What are we doing here?
But so in terms of the bigger thing here is the impact that games have, and also the floor price on this is pretty significant in the sense that like it's more than Other Deed that we see this high price in the anticipation of a drop, which has no utility inside of Bored Ape Yacht Club. The gamification element of this to me is like the biggest.
Well, I think these are really be flying suits that an ape can go into in the other side to travel faster and like also come down on top of people and just look superior.
And, well,
that's utility.
That's utility. That's flexing in the metaverse right there. Is everyone's walking around like normal humans. You just come down in a mech suit. Like, what's up?
The
we need a tank for this mission.
The question that I have is like, when Bored Ape Yacht Club looks at their like target demographic personas, is it basically just one circle of like complete degens?
28 to 38-year-old males in a circle playing a temple run on a browser.
And is smoking marijuana a core concept in that circle?
You know how businesses have the 4 pillars? That's number 2 for Bored Apes.
Don't call us. Don't say we're not sexy, y'all.
Well, but in all seriousness, me and Nick were talking about this yesterday, and it is interesting to see the way that they've kind of leaned into this brand. And I guess you kind of have to. I guess the bet is to just attract more and more folks that play video games. I guess, Nick, it looks like you want to weigh in.
Well, okay, let's go back to like our youth, and my youth. And when I speak about my youth, I'm speaking about like end of middle school, high school age, and. By high school, I guess you weren't spending much time at the mall. I feel like that was more like a middle school sort of thing. But why do I mention this? Who are these people that are going to the mall on a regular basis? And what is the activity of that demographic? For me, smoking weed was a core portion of that. Now, I realize a lot of people wait until college, but I'm wondering like what percentage of the youth are smoking weed? And my guess is a pretty significant percentage. When you think of like rap music back in the day, speaking about weed, and you'd be driving around, this is representative of America, smoking a blunt in the car, heading to the mall. This is
middle school, right, Nick?
I don't think Nick has done any of these things. I think he was actually both out. I think he went to church. Like, this is all fake.
The Jewish church, but yeah.
He smoked weed one time with Sloan Kettering and Johnny Hopkins.
I was actually smoking weed on a regular basis.
Okay, all right, we get it.
He seems offended by this statement. Okay,
big guy.
Nick's talking about weed again. Hey, silence your ears, children in the audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Rasta Nick on the show today. I didn't know that was who I was going to be joined by. We also got Ryan Carson on the Twitter Spaces stage and on the live stream. So jazzed up to have Ryan here. I want to talk about the event tomorrow because we're going to be apparently hanging out in real life. Are you going to be there, Ryan?
Heck yeah, I'm going to be there. It's like a 5-hour meetup. We start at noon. I don't think we stop till like at least 5, maybe 9 p.m. and then I go to bed.
And you're dropping the pre-event POAP live on this show today. We're really excited. Let his audience know POAP being dropped in the next 45 minutes.
Pour in here, people.
Fake news. No, it's fun to be here, y'all. I love y'all. This is great.
Absolutely. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the weather report in just a second. Then I want to talk more about, some of these mechanics we're seeing. I know Bunny has his hand raised. I'm going to get to him in just a second. Today's show, if you pay attention to the tweet that's sponsored at the top, is sponsored by Rollbit. You probably heard of Rollbit before if you've been hanging around the NFT and crypto space for a little bit. They are one of crypto's most innovative casinos. And I know you DGens like casinos. So Rollbit offers all of the typical casino games like blackjack, slots, roulette. They have a sports book. So you DGen sport bettors can bet on your favorite teams and athletes. They support multiple deposit methods: ETH, Bitcoin, Solana, ApeCoin. Look, so
illicit drugs.
Whatever tribe you're a part of, you can deposit your money in here. Your money is green at Rollbit. They will take it. And they've launched the first crypto casino NFT project that's actually paid back about 48 million in rewards to the holders. So check out Rollbit. The tweet is pinned to the top. We're actually going to be giving away $1,000 in codes towards crypto futures and NFT loot boxes on rollbit.com during the show. So you got to be in the audience to win. Stick around. Shout out to our sponsor, Rollbit. We're going to be talking about them more later in the show. Before we get to the weather report, Bunny, you have your hand raised. Something pressing for you to weigh in on?
No, it was like context to the tier pass thing, to the tiers. I was going to give like the stats. There's 68 in the top 500, 68 tier ones, 324 tier fours out of the top 500. But then I just started playing, and I forgot my hand was up. Yeah.
I raised my hand, Pia.
Go ahead, Nick. Yeah. Your hand's always raised in my book, buddy.
Just statistically speaking, you're probably correct. There were two things that I was going to say. One, I'd like to shout out some community members.
Oh, absolutely.
But secondarily, I thought it'd be interesting. Ryan, do you have any question of the day that you'd like to ask our audience? We'd like to steal that directly from you. So any questions that you'd like to pull our audience on?
I do. Let's have everybody tell us when they first listened to the show. When did they become fans of this amazing show? Let's hear some OG dates out there.
Another way of phrasing that: when did you lose your virginity? Post that in the replies here. We're all interested in knowing that one. And was that was that a legal situation? So those are
my answer. I think the first time I ever got in your stage, I came on and Node made fun of me, and he made me feel really unwelcome. And
Node did. Wow, wow. Okay, Utah Node did that. Okay,
he was spicy Node that day. That was one of the funniest days of 2022.
He was he's so nice too in real life, and he was super mean to me. I'm like, wow, I'm not coming back here again.
He's so nice everywhere. He doesn't use curse words. That's hilarious that he made you feel that way. Nick, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was a late bloomer. Lost my virginity at age of 20 or so. It was actually really embarrassing that it took that long. But there I was in college. I was a very I wasn't sober as we discussed. A lot of weed smoking during that time. So, anyways,
thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Nick, do you want to
shout out to Pixel Property or a 395.eth? Oh, he's got a 3-digit ETH number. That's worth some money. He's been collecting pixels since 2021. So that's when he first started. I'm wondering when he first listened to the show. Don't know about that. I'm also going to say Rondell started listening to our show. Shout out to Rondell. She started listening March of last year. Wow. So I guess she came in around the other D drop time.
Well, there you go. We got Fun2 DGen saying that they're a newbie. They found the show about a month ago. Love to hear about new audience members finding the show and becoming daily listeners. So shout out to Fun2 DGen. Ray T said he found Nifty Nick breaking down how Vivi is going to fail like Ray thought, and now he's here. And that was back in 2021. So there you go. Glad that you finding the show was founded on negativity. Love to hear it, Ray.
Well, accurate negativity.
Bearish prediction.
Shout out to Hofstra. We don't miss. Mid 2021 was when he found this show, which is interesting because this show did not exist in mid 2021. So he must have been watching PO
He
on
was
YouTube.
thinking about you. You were in his mind doing the show. They
What,
worked.
could have
was it
been my
September
podcast.
2021 that it started.
Yeah, right around there. But Hofstra must have manifested it. He might have been watching my YouTube videos that nobody else watched. So thank you, Hofstra, for watching them. So we also have Sam saying Pio and Easy reached out to me, and now they pay me to watch and promote the show. Interesting take, Sam, because that's not true. But thanks so much for weighing in on that.
I just haven't told you. Sorry.
Oh, Easy just
my bad.
Easy just PayPal Sam $8 every day for watching the show. Pretty good stuff. And then we got Justin Scheibel said live from VCon last year was my first episode. Wow, that was one off the rails, and I loved it. So shout out to Justin. Thanks for watching. And just shouting out audience members. We got Michaela in the crowd. Mika says that she's never an expert. She's repping Web3 tips, education, content creation. She said she's a Spaces host. Let's collab. I know Michaela makes content across platforms. Love having content creators in the audience that are working hard on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So shout out to Michaela. Nick, do you have one more?
I do. Sorry, my apologies. Kenny G, are you real, Kenny? That's a hard, man. I don't know about your Twitter account name, but like, shout out to you. Either April or May 2021, first tuned in and hooked. Again, did not exist then, but I appreciate you listening to either my podcast or PO's shows. My guess. I have no idea. But we've been around. Maybe you were just following us on Twitter. At that point, I was overperforming PO on Twitter. Now I'm underperforming him on Twitter. He's absolutely dominating the field right now, dunking on people left and right in the touchdown area. That's what they say.
Nick, fun
That
fact,
is what they say. I hear that phrase all the time, in the touchdown area.
in the touchdown, that general area, that part of the stadium. Nick, fun fact, my normie friends texted me this morning because apparently a big Instagram profile tweeted the top Twitter Spaces host. Ryan's on that list too, and you and me are on there. So we got some normie love today. They were like, what? Whoa, this is crazy. Wow. And then, anyway, a couple more. We got Zet saying that he's been listening to Nifty since around September, October 2021. He's a day one. That's absolutely right. Shout out to Meta Zet. And then last but not least, Dom repping a Sappy Seal. Dom Bino has been a listener since November 2021. Feels like forever ago. It is forever ago, man. But we're still around. You're still around. We're going to keep doing it. Nick, anything before we get into the weather report?
Yeah, NFT Don says Dookie rank 1750. Get me to 1,000 LFG. I'm at 4370 in the rankings right now, which puts me in a nice mid-tier NFT, which is usually where I operate. That's my zone of excellence. And I would say that well, every time I buy a floor, always just get wrecked. We lost money here on Pudgy Penguins. Just lost money on Creeps, a rug project as it's known. And
what? Ryan has creeps.
Yeah, I have a bunch of creeps. Watch out! don't
watch out for creeps, baby.
Well, as
one of the more legendary starts to January.
Yeah, this was a quite. Fortunately,
it's a quick in and out. Just
bought it for 2.5 ETH, sold it for 1.6, got another NFT.
Tax loss harvesting. Nick, we respect it. Just starting early.
You're getting it out early.
In January. Hey, since you're ignoring my hand, I'm just going to talk.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Here. So I bet all of our Twitter friends are confused because my voice is being magically combined with yours and coming out of your PFP, which is disconcerting. So let me just explain to all of our Twitter friends what's happening and how this magic works. So we're doing a live show on YouTube. So if you want to see our happy smiling faces, go to YouTube. That is why my voice is not coming on my PFP. It's not magic.
You're breaking the rule, Ryan. The rule is you don't acknowledge the YouTube show because the people that want to consume the show on I'm serious, because the people that want to consume the YouTube show are going to consume it on YouTube.
Fourth wall.
And if you start if you start talking about it on Twitter, all the Twitter people, what's happening to the people on Twitter right now are like, this isn't just on Twitter. Literally F this show.
So that was the rule. You didn't tell me the rule. I need to know the rule.
It's all good. It doesn't matter because the Twitter people won't go to YouTube anyways. So it like it literally
but they
doesn't
will
matter.
just leave. They will just go home. You know,
we love you on Twitter. Stay here.
Exactly. Stay on Twitter. Anyway, let's dive into the weather report. Let's get this show on the road. And I want to hear from Ryan, from Spencer, from Bunny, from everybody, from Easy, of course, about what is going on in the NFT space. Is it Kicks on the weather report today?
It is.
Yes, sir. It is Kicks on the report today, and it's Friday, the 20th of January, 2023. Looking over at volume, we have OpenSea coming in at $22.6 million, broke 20 million for the first time in 3 months. Thank you very much, Yuga Labs. Leaders, Apes, 69.8, Mutants, 14.9, Punks, 66.9. Mizuki coming in at 15.7. We got Moonbirds, 8.2. Doodles, 7.8. Pudgies and Clone X tied. First official tie of January at 5.5 ETH. Over the past 24 hours, Yuga Sewer Labs passes. I just messed that one up. Propping the market up this week. A tweet by GSK Rovina shared, sewer passes have already done more lifetime ETH volume than friendship bracelets, despite only existing for 36 hours. Yuga also teased upcoming merch mint passes at 2 ETH. Following Punks being traded for Wolf Game assets, we got another Punk trade for a full set of the meme cards. An above floor 3-trade CryptoPunk was exchanged for a full set. That's costing you about 90 ETH these days. Despite the attention being on Sewer Pass, crowd favorite Hasbulla NFT sold out and did over 800 ETH in volume. Floor went up to 0.2. It's now hanging out near 0.1 this morning. Last, Gabriel Ledon, founder, Digi-Daigaku, announced Dragons are minting live at the Super Bowl. That's on February 12th. It's going to happen during the Digi-Daigaku commercial. For a chance to secure a dragon, Gabriel shared what you need to do on his Twitter page. Go check it out. Crypto, Bitcoin 20.9, ETH 1547, Solana 21, holding on nicely. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual. Kick some other updates. NFT announced marketplace Blur has announced that its Blur governance token is going to launch on February 14th. So that's a little bit less than a month from now. It was actually discussed on this show that it was going to be launched in February 14th. It was met with skepticism, but that turns, well, not the exact date in February, but just February as a month, met with skepticism, but it turns out it was true. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon is at his old strategy, saying that Bitcoin is a hyped up fraud. Crypto is a decentralized Ponzi scheme. It's a pet rock, as he has all of his, fund managers and traders and everybody accumulate while he publicly FUDs. Ryan, looks like you want to weigh in?
They're probably buying.
How can he be so smart and say that? Like, I just don't understand.
It's like a meme, Ryan. He's done it like 8 times, and they
just
accumulate
filed for a crypto wallet too, like 2 months ago.
They accumulate a buttload of Bitcoin every time he does. This is a signal that they are buying Bitcoin. It's like a meme in the Bitcoin community. Ferocious shared an update promising insane announcements to come in the coming months. Not sure if that's necessarily news, but yes, we're definitely going to see some action from Ferocious. Genesis Global Capital, Nick's going to love this one, has filed for bankruptcy under Chapter 11. Good old Barry, Nick.
Dude, Barry is just messing around, and when will it stop?
When will it stop?
As the Winklevoss twins would say, Barry, give our customers their money. It's all your fault. We had nothing to do with this. You're an evil person. You deserve to be in jail and fired, Barry. What the hell? I can't believe that you would market this product to consumers, Barry. I can't believe that you made our mobile app, Barry. And that's just absolutely absurd. We've had enough.
And Tyler, literally like clockwork, Tyler Winklevoss jumps on Twitter and is just like doing a victory lap. And he's like, this is a step in the right direction for earned customers to get their money back. I was just like, can't you just give them the money? Like, it's like a fraction of what you guys have on the balance sheet for Gemini. Anyway,
they're not going to now it's going to take customers even longer if they're going through a bankruptcy process. So you just went from hopes that you got this before May to now not getting this money for probably 3+ years.
Well, there you go. Gotta love it. Digidaigaku Dragons is going to mint live during its Super Bowl commercial. February 12th, the Digidaigaku Dragons are going to be minting live. Gabe Layden, as Kix pointed out, announced that the chance to mint is going to come next week. So that's going to be very interesting. Those are your updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Subscribe at thenifty.com. Signal, raise your hand. What's going on?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know about you guys, but just looking at the volume at the moment with the fact that we have broken above 20 million, we haven't been there since like mid-October. It just goes to show you like how much Yuga, like, they're like the sleeping giant. When they come in, they just prop the entire market on its back pretty much, because before this we were like, you know, just sitting above 10. So I think what we're going to see as well is going to just have a pullback on like across the board, across basically all other assets, except assets like punks. As we see more FOMO go in, as we see also this type of news breaking into the mainstream, breaking into the news, like I imagine like Decrypt, CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, like all these places are going to cover it just simply because of the amount of volume, money, and engagement that it's currently having on Twitter. So this then will leak into sort of the normie world more. I can see passes going up even more. But at the same time, I do see other assets pulling back. So it could be quite a good time to do one of those things when the world looks left, like you look right, and just sort of go for other things, which, you know, once essentially Mecca has happened, those assets will go back up. So there's some opportunity happening right now.
NFTs are Yuga's world. We just live in it.
So I am curious, like, do you think that this will be a liquidity sustaining event? Because we have EVO1 right now, or EVO right now, EVO1 in 20 days, and then EVO2 and maybe 20 days after that. So we got like a 40-day runway at this point where there's a whole gamified aspect to this. They say it's going to be a unique minting experience. I've said it, my concern is it's an attention economy. And how do you maintain attention? You just had this huge announcement, caused a massive run up, and then they said this round goes full until I think like February 18th.
What is EVO?
That's what the pods are called. It's like what they name each step. EV0, EVO1, EVO2. It's like each step of the max. And it's underneath each picture.
I don't think Yuga is in the attention war. They do whatever they want and they win. I think the more exciting news is Digidaigaku minting during the Super Bowl, because that's going to attract a huge amount of new attention in the space. Like, so I'm so, and I think I said this on your show, Easy. Like, this is exactly what $200 million of VC is for, right?
Go spend it. New eyes.
I can't wait. Let's go. As long as this site doesn't go down. Like, I hope that.
Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. It's absolutely going to crash. Like, do you know how, like, I will bet you there's a ton of NFT people who've never watched a Super Bowl game in their life, let alone even a football game, who are going to be staring at that screen with their phone out. Like,
I'm actually going to stay up and watch the free.
But Sig, you gotta find a US stream because you get different ads.
Yeah, I'm
That's the
gonna
other
go.
thing.
No, yeah. So I'm gonna go to an American bar at like whatever time this game happens, and for the first time in my life, for the first time in my life, I'm gonna watch American football because of an NFT. So yeah, NFTs change lives. Just telling you right now.
Well,
Nick,
and they're also they also do have like some form in there if you're outside of the US to like sign up to some sort of form as well. So you can do that too. I think they like also get you like on a separate like allow list if you're like not able, because I don't know if even if in like the UK bar, if they show US ads, if they'll show UK ads.
Like Canada won't even get it. There's like speculation that like even North America we're getting it. I know, man. I know.
Nick, it looked like you were shaking your head while we were discussing the Super Bowl ad. Do you disagree with Gabe Layden's strategy here?
No, I don't disagree at all. I was disagreeing with two things. Well, one thing which was Easy's comment that the site's going to crash. I just don't think that like this isn't like, hey, go to your Ethereum wallet and do this thing. That's not how it's gonna operate. They're gonna make it for the masses, and I think that that's something that a lot of us have been thinking about recently. Is that like the future of NFTs doesn't have to do with downloading an ETH wallet. I think the ETH wallet is like a small fraction of the market. The same thing goes for like when I think of whatever you would categorize as the global art market is usually when people reference that number, the global fine art market. But then the mass consumer market, where you include collectibles, you include things like posters, you include like some of these other items, it's far larger and far less friction and way less expensive. And I think that's where like the majority resides. And so when people think, I don't know if the acronym NFT is going to disappear. A lot, like most people do think that that's going to be the case, but maybe like big brands think that acronym sounds cool. I have no idea. But what were you going to say, Ryan?
Well, I presume that they're going to go with a custodial wallet. I really hope so. Like, I really hope we're not trying to onboard people onto Ethereum with this. So does anybody know for sure the mint mechanic or how it's going to work?
Well, the thing that my understanding was that the first 1,000 actually get a real, like a valuable NFT. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of them would be something else, according to Gabe, which I'm assuming is a free NFT or a free collectible. He shared this on
another space I was on. He had come on for like 5 minutes and talked about it and said that exactly that. It's going to be 1,000. He had mentioned there was the dragons, which we had seen. But then
it was our space.
Then, this was another space he came on like 2 days ago. It was not ours. But we were just kind of like, throwing some FUD about like spending $7 million on a Super Bowl ad for people outside the space. And he was like very transparent about why, said that anyone who scans it will get something. And that's the big thing, is like, just by being there and participating, there will be something.
Fudding his decision to get a Super Bowl ad and absolutely hit it out of the park with a free NFT and crush it.
You want to know what's crazy? He pulled up. It worked.
Right. But I'm just saying that's the most NFT thing I've ever heard. Like, NFT FUD is always like, it's basically walking up to a guy that's chiseled at the gym and just being like, you're in really good shape. You know what I mean?
Bet you wasted a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like weird. You know, it's like you go up to some like a world-class chef making like seared, like, you know, I don't know, some seared foie gras or like roasted bone marrow and just being like, your food looks really delicious. You know what I mean? Anyway, Spencer has his hand raised. I got to hear from Spencer. Spencer, what's on your mind? Then we'll go to Benjamin.
I think it's really interesting. A couple of things. One is going to be with the Digimint. The thing that I'm most interested in as a Digi holder is like, how will the mint drive value to the original holders? Because I don't think that I see this as a dilution in supply, but I think from listening to Gabe talk, he's trying to be really particular about like, there will be something free given to the people who scan the code in the Super Bowl, but obviously there will like the free thing that you get as holding a Digi should be like significantly better to justify it. And I'm hoping this is like an example of like, you know, everyone knows that I FUD mass adoption all the time, but like if there are a lot of people that scan the Super Bowl, like I want the number of people scanning the Super Bowl to positively impact my bags. And I'm curious the degree to which that's going to happen. So I think it's a really important like moment for this mass adoption narrative within NFTs. I think if anyone's going to get it right, it's going to be Gabe, because he's probably the person who understands this sort of like large scale advertising the most. So that's really what I'm watching for. And then when it comes to some of the other stuff, like the Blur airdrop is on Valentine's Day. And I think this is really interesting because this is the second paradigm backed project that's done like a big event on a holiday, right? Because remember Art Gobblers launched on Halloween evening. And so you got to wonder at this point, like, are people at Paradigm like sitting there telling their portfolio companies to launch big things on holidays? I don't love if they're doing that. I think I get why they're doing it, because, you know, if you want to do an airdrop, if you want to do a token release, you want there to be less demand the moment you do it than there is the day after. And so doing it on a day when people aren't by their screens maybe makes sense. But man, like, I don't know, like, come on, like, do I got to really push Valentine's Day out a day because I don't know when this airdrop's going to happen and we're getting a lot of the airdrop? Like, I think probably yes. And that's just like a little bit frustrating for me.
Your
but
partner
it's
will
an interesting
understand.
thing to say.
Your partner is going to understand, Spencer. Just be like, hey, screw Valentine's Day this year. What do you think?
Well, rule number one: always do the Valentine's dinner on the 13th, not the 14th. That's the because you're not going to get a reservation on the 14th, and it's just going to be way more expensive. So you just go to a fine dining establishment, spend the same amount that you would have spent anyways, and then go and have a nice dinner. You can get the reservation. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, the thing which is not a rule, this is an observation, which is the Digidaigaku side of things. What we haven't seen yet, what would be cool, I remember when like Facebook had a link on some Super Bowl or something like that, or the news was covering would put a hashtag or follow us on Twitter, and we'd be like, it's happening. It's happening. Social media adoption is taking place. It's insane. And that was what it was like in, 2008, basically. And I think that the same thing, similarly here on the NFT side, is happening. But the distinction is you have an even smaller community that I think it'll be. I think there's a possibility and an opportunity for these smaller communities to both offer something to the mainstream, which I think is what the Offering Doodles wants to do, but none of us previously bought into. And then on another show, we were selling oh, actually, maybe this is a good idea. But to offer something to the mainstream that also elevates that inner community. And if someone strikes that balance right, I think that has a huge positive impact for these types of projects, basically. And that's what frankly, I feel like this year is one giant experiment to see if anyone can pull that off. And maybe even next year, depending on, how this goes down. But right now we've gone through the cycle of almost exploiting the degens. And now it's what the next phase is hey, let's lever the degens to their enthusiasm, make them feel special, and then also elevate this to a broader audience. So I'm bullish on it. Much to Spencer's chagrin.
Well, real quick,
but yeah.
If I could weigh on this real quick, then I want to go to Ben Jam, and then we got Clemente here on the show too. So I'm excited about that. Clemente, you're in New York right now too, right?
Yes, sir.
The rotten apple, amigo. Watch your back out there. Hey, look, man, this ain't the West Coast, buddy. Anyway,
well, you want to tell the story of the child that came up to Pio the other day and was while we were walking down the street? You want to share that one?
I'll share it real quick for Clemente and Ryan and the whole Daily Dose audience, because they got to understand that stuff is real out here in New York. But anyway, just 1 second. On Nick's point, I think that there's a difference between just broad strokes mass adoption, which, I mean, they are one of our sponsors, but they've really kind of shifted my mentality on this. So Rare, how when I go into a So Rare tournament, there's 80,000 participants in the tournament. That sounds a whole lot more mass adoption-y than 4,000 people owning a Wolf Game asset or something like that. But I think what we're talking about here, and I think when Spencer thinks about the NFT space, because it's his full-time job to run a fund and to make good decisions buying specifically NFT fine art or collectibles with the assumption that it's going to accrue value in the short, medium, or long term. What we're really talking about is a bridge from that to a mass adoption thing, right? And that bridge is actually the thing that hasn't happened, right? People are playing So Rare. So Rare is making a ton of money. That's good to go. Make a fun game, build NFTs on top of it. You have a good business. Your business is not going to go out of business. You're good to go. But bridging a Doodles collection or a Digidaigaku collection to a mass audience and have it accrue value to the already expensive as hell collectibles, that some of which cost as much as a Rolex watch, and people are like, I can't hold it in my hand. What the hell is this? That's a totally different conversation. And plus you have to use MetaMask, which I don't like to use. And I've been in this space for over 2 years now. It's kind of a wild thing to think about. Clemente, in New York the other day, me and Nick were walking around the block, and a small child, I'd say he was 13 years old, a small kid, came up to us and said, do you want to see what a gun...
He wasn't the way that you're saying is he was 3 feet
fine.
tall.
He was probably 5'9", right? So he's a tall 8th grader.
Basically my height.
basically Nick's height, you know, skin and bones, dude, skin and bones, right? He's not jacked. This kid isn't on the football team, right? And he comes up to me and Nick while we're walking, and he goes, "Hey, have you ever seen a gun before?" And I go,
He said, "Do you have a gun?"
"Do you have a gun?" is what he said. And I immediately said, "Yeah." And then he said, "Do you want to see one right now?" And I was like, "I have one on me right now." So I thought we were playing a fun game of sorts where the subject matter is a gun and we're in downtown Brooklyn. So it's an interesting, fun little game. Then he goes, "I'll show it to you for $50 or something like that." And I was, or go ahead.
No, he said, "Do you want another one? I got one for $50.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then then me and Nick started to like feel like this was serious. Then he just goes, "Give me $50."
Well, he rolls up. So you got to explain this. He's now we just move along. Like we just continue down the street. Like, okay, cool. That was a dumb conversation, and just keep walking. And the kid keeps walking directly behind Pio, like right behind his shoulder, sort of like up against him. And he's like, and he walks up, and I turn back around, and I'm like, "What is this kid doing?" Because he's like right up against us, and he's like, "Give me $50." And we're just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like,
I got pissed. I was like, "Am I about to put this child in a bow and arrow choke?" Like it was close, man. I was like, I'm about to hit him with an Imanari roll and really like, you know, do something. Then someone else is gonna kick my ass because they're like, "Yo, you're hitting a kid." Anyway, stuff's real out here, and children will threaten you with fake guns. Clemente, how's it going, Clemente? Welcome to the city.
No, it's good. It's good. The only problem is, so I came from Chile, and I only have summer clothes. I got one pair of pants, and I was sitting there from the airport hitting the subway, and I looked like an absolute schmuck. I'm sitting there in summer, like shorts, like a sweatshirt, shivering in the subway, and people are just staring at me. I'm looking like I came from an island or something. Things are expensive though, man. Like I went out, I'm like, you know, I'll get a pizza and maybe like a drink or something, and all of a sudden
$400.
Yeah, $25 for a slice of pizza that put me on my ass for like 3 hours. I couldn't move after. But other than that, it's good.
You went to the wrong place, dude. What you should have texted us. We'll give you the spot.
Well, we're going to dinner on Tuesday, so I'll make sure that I pick a good spot for sure. Anyway, look, we got a lot of action in the NFT space, Clemente. What do you make of the sewer passes? Do you think this is a local top? What do you make of the other stuff that we're seeing in the NFT space, generally speaking, in the market?
My biggest takeaway, and I don't see this being talked about enough as far as the sewer passes go, is the fact that it's only purchasable on OpenSea. So over the last less than 48 hours, OpenSea has made over $500,000 off of secondary royalties.
An X2, Y2 live as well?
I don't know about that, but all I know is it's not tradable on Blur. And the interesting thing is I'm curious if, and I'm just speculating here, if in the future or even beforehand, if OpenSea goes up to a team like Yuga and is like, "Hey, we'll pay you $500,000. We'll pay you $1 million, whatever it is, if you only make our collection exclusive on OpenSea."
So I want to double click on this because I don't know how many people listening or watching know this, but right now, if you release an NFT collection, you need to choose if you're going to enforce royalties on Blur or OpenSea, and you got to choose. And this is an arms race that's getting bonkers. And there is no way around it. That you can try a hack, but then it switches back. So we're in a weird spot for enforcing royalties.
And Ryan, I think a lot of people don't realize quite how this works. So it's interesting. So OpenSea has a contract that blocks Blur. Blur does not have a contract that blocks OpenSea. OpenSea, however, has a policy that if you choose, so you can actually enforce full royalties on Blur for a new collection. However, OpenSea's policy is that if you enforce full royalties on Blur for your collection, they will not enforce any royalties on their platform. So there is no reciprocal policy from Blur that blocks OpenSea ever. There's only a policy from OpenSea that blocks Blur. And
Blur is being more open.
Yeah,
Straight
Blur
up.
is being significantly more open than OpenSea.
OpenSea, I think it's called Closey. Am I right?
No, but like to be fair, OpenSea is actually doing stuff now, and I actually really like using OpenSea, honestly, to like list NFTs. You can do like a bulk listing and stuff. All these features that we needed 2 years ago that we finally got because competitors came into the arena. But OpenSea is like, in my opinion, better to use than Blur. I'm sure the Blur fanboys will really, come at me for this because they don't want to pay royalties. But minus the royalty thing, like, I don't know, I like using OpenSea. Ryan, you unmuted something. Yeah.
Is this where you disclose you're being privately funded by OpenSea? What was happening here?
If I was getting sponsored by OpenSea, I'd be dunking on people, bragging about it. So that's the thing is like people, I'll tweet about like Sony headphones. They're going to be like, yo, this is a paid shill, man. I'm like, dude, if I was paid by Sony, I would be like knocking on your door and dunking on you because I have been. But
fair.
Yeah.
Just want to call it out.
Ryan, have you bought the memes by 6529 in your fund?
Oh man, I've thought about it. There's a lot of art that I've thought a lot about. I think, God, we've seen how good of an investment, good art was. If we all had hindsight, that was 2020. But yet, we own QQL mint passes. I own a 1-of-1 by Justin Aversano. But yeah, I wish we were heavier on the art scene. But our fund thesis is more about companies and founders. So that's what we're focusing.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, quick shout out to today's sponsor, Rollbit. Okay, so Rollbit, they have crypto futures on their platform. Okay, so we want to highlight their crypto futures platform. They've launched it, built by some of the leading developers from the finance industry, so you know what's up. And they offer up to 1,000x leverage on all leading cryptos, including ETH, Bitcoin, Ape, and Doge. I think we should get Nick on the platform and have him let it fly. There are no fees paid on losses while using their futures platform, and competitive fees are paid on profits. No slippage, instant order execution. Easy. How does that sound, buddy?
Sounds delectable, to be honest. Can't really fade it.
Wait, so let me get this right. So they have an online casino and they have a trading platform, which, to be fair, is basically a casino, but we've like institutionalized it. But so they have both these things.
Yep, they do. And we got 20 drop codes for $5 trades on Rollbit's crypto futures platform that I'm about to read out loud right now. So I'm reading this out loud right now, Nick.
Wait, you're going to give out the code and then people are going to race to claim it?
That's damn right, Nick. That's what's
Real
about
quick,
to happen.
Also, while we're on the gambling side of things, I'm going to give out another portal.
Woo!
And you can get one of our portals by signing up at thenifty.com. Get on the list. Twitter made this more difficult now, so you can't just use the that review embed, which was super nice. Elon Musk, shout out to Elon, looking out for creators like us, making things harder. But head over to thenifty.com, get on the list, and I'm gonna select one also at the end of this show. But in the interim, hand out that free money.
Here's the codes: 20 drop codes for $5 trades. So this is the code. First 20 people, good to go. The code is free trade -Nifty -8347. Again, that's free trade -Nifty -8347. Shout out to Rollbit. I got some other tweets pinned to the top for instructions on how to input those codes. So these are the codes for the crypto futures platform. I'm going to have more codes later in the show specifically for the loot boxes, but free trade -Nifty -8347 is the code for the $5 trades on the crypto futures platform. Check it out, and the tweets pinned to the top give you instructions on how to input them. Easy. You watch the market like a hawk. You made the wrong call on the crypto sewer, the Bored Ape sewer passes, but it's okay. We'll give you a pass on that.
At 19 more days.
What else are you looking at in the market right now?
So pissed.
I'm still so interested in these memes, my friend.
The memes by 6529.
I'm stuck on them. I can't figure out why. I'm just absolutely stuck on them at the moment. I'm extremely eager to see kind of like how it plays out. I spent a lot of time yesterday diving into like figure out what the best avenue was to get exposure to it, because it's all like giveaways and raffles based on point allocation. In addition to that, though, right now, I mean, we have the Digidaigaku Villains Mint, which is coming up. That raffle's ending. You have the Dragons mint coming up for the Super Bowl. That plays into it. You have Ether coming up, which is an extremely anticipated drop. Will be the first lockup period for an ETH project. So those are like the big three that I think are like most people and most liquidity are focused on at the moment. In addition to that, I am starting to take a look at some other Yuga assets. I want to see how low other side land goes in anticipation of like what happens after this entire cycle with the game itself, because all the focus is shifting there. And if these get back to that like 1 ETH range, I might grab some exposure on it because we still don't have the second 10,000 drop yet. So like those are kind of where like I'm focused on the ETH market at the moment. And I'm doing my best not to just buy garbage degen projects because that's usually how I light my money on fire.
Yeah, and you said you meant the second 100,000 of the other
100,000, yeah, second 100,000, yeah.
Which we haven't received confirmation is actually going to happen. Wouldn't be surprised if they abandon ship on that, but we'll see. Spencer, you talked about how you sold, I forget how many of your mutants. It was almost 50% of the mutants that you hold in your fund at 20 Ethereum. You had a little bit of infinite regret, as Zeneca would call it, for not selling all of them. What are you kind of looking at right now? How are you operating with the fund? Are you just playing Dookie Dash all day, trying to get that magic key?
You know, I think like in general, I was a net seller a few weeks ago of NFTs to ETH, and then I think I sold a bunch of the ETH from those sales recently. So like there's this period of time in the beginning of the year where ETH had kind of been stable. I tend to like to trade NFTs more during low ETH volatility. So when there's high ETH volatility, we tend to see like a decrease in floor price. ETH is sort of stabilized in this 1550 range. But I think we saw this sort of sell off of people who are just looking to get out of projects as ETH was running. That's kind of happened a little bit. And so prices are probably a little bit more stable now. Like really the NFTs tend to thrive in the best environment when ETH is like less volatile, right? And so the thing is that there's also these upcoming catalysts of like we have I think actually the Digi Super Bowl ad is like net bullish for the whole NFT space. Like we may just see an influx of capital on that day. It's unclear to me what the Blur airdrop means for the space. So I'm probably still a net seller of NFTs overall right now, but that could change very quickly. And I think there's a few projects that I'm looking at that I think have maybe oversold in ETH terms currently because it's just people taking their profits or whatever it was. But I think that the big question is your view on the ETH price right now. Like if you think it's super high, you know, which it could be, it might retrace down to 1,200. I don't think it does. I think we probably just range here for a while and that would be great. But yeah, I mean, we did most of our buying the 3 weeks around when FTX collapsed. Like I deployed more than 50% of the fund in those 3 weeks. And so like since then, it's been a lot of just kind of watching things play out.
Uh-oh.
So sorry, was that me? Did you guys hear me yell at my dog?
Are you saying that to Spencer or to your dog?
Did we hear you yell at your dog? No, Spencer.
We missed it.
Cut
The
out.
YouTube missed it. The
Okay.
Twitter heard it.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry, everybody. I thought I was muted. I was yelling at my dog. I'm so sorry, everyone. That was me yelling at my dog because she's messing with.
You
one of
were
the
muted,
plants.
Pio. We didn't hear you yelling at your dog.
No, I definitely heard Pio yelling.
The YouTube did not. The Twitter did, Nick.
Oh,
So sorry, everybody. That's embarrassing as hell. Anyway, Spencer, I loved your analysis. I hate to ruin it, but buying during the FTX period was a fantastic time to buy. It was a weird time because you couldn't even like put money on exchanges because all the exchanges were exploding, pausing withdrawals and all that.
There's also, I disagree with Spencer on one thing though, in terms of net bullish for anything. When we say net bullish for the NFT space, what we're actually saying is net bullish for this small, tiny subset of a market that's never going to grow substantially larger. So I want to be like very clear about that. The percentage of people that are flipping degen style trading NFTs, I don't think more than doubles basically. Or maybe, but let's say in a bull market, it quadruples. Okay, cool. A lot of people are looking at that saying, my gosh, this is an incredible opportunity, and they greedily jump into this market. Okay, cool. What I think the majority of this market is cheap collectibles, basically, where people are operating on that front, and it's more of a rewards thing, rewards programs, other forms of digital collectibles, and I don't know. I just think that's a major part of this opportunity. I just don't feel that it translates well into this market. Basically, like any ad is not selling and be like, damn it, I gotta go buy Bored Ape assets right now. Like I just don't. I don't know. I just don't see that happening.
But,
Yeah, but Nick,
but
that's
the thing
not
I think.
Signal, and then we'll go to Spencer. Signal.
So I was going to say, like, Nick, I don't think that's really the point, though. It's not about like a direct translation to sales. It's about just marketing and awareness. And that is worth the 7 million alone. But just like going back to what Spencer was saying on ETH, I think between now and like March and like end of March, beginning of April, it's going to be quite like a tricky time to know, like, am I in stables? Am I in NFTs? Because you have to think the consensus is inflation. Sorry, consensus is the Fed 25, 50 basis points. So that like the market has already priced that in. So we could see, if it comes in at 25, bit more, crypto goes up, could actually stay over 1600. But then what's going to happen is you've got the corporate earnings coming in. And if corporate earnings are bad, which people predict they are bad, but how bad they are, that is the bit we don't know. So we could see a retrace come back there. So I think like between now, March, April is going to be a time where you're just kind of like flip-flopping between ETH, stables, and then going back into NFTs. And you need to be quite agile, and you need to be in collections that have enough liquidity that you can get in and out if you need to.
Yeah, a lot more agile than I'm able to be. Spencer, go ahead and weigh in, and then I want to. Clemente has a question for Spencer. Spencer, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, so I think the thing that I don't really think it's necessarily people scanning, getting the free NFT. They're going to be onboarded that heavily. I think it's again this adoption from a very small number of people who have a lot of capital is like it's just more fuel on the fire for the pitch to institutional capital that like, yeah, there's a Super Bowl ad, it has this, like, the big buyer that comes in and is like, you know what, I think I forgot about NFTs. I think maybe now's a good time to buy an NFT. I'm gonna go like USDC to ETH to CryptoPunks. Like those buyers exist, and it's just like they're reminded of it. They think it's a bigger deal. Like that's a lot of like, if you look at CryptoPunk volume, there's so many wallets that do that. They just go USDC, new wallet, USDC to ETH to CryptoPunk, right? And that is like people that are worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars coming and putting in 100 grand to the ecosystem, putting in $1 million to the ecosystem, like 1%, less than 1% of their net worths. And like, that's the thing that, why is the stock market as high as it is? It's not because of retail, right? Like it's because of other people. It's because people speculating that they're trading against retail, right? That's one part, but it's really this bigger like capital allocators putting money in. And so the more that helps the narrative for larger capital allocators, the better. And I think there's nothing but positive outcomes from the Super Bowl ad for the argument to those kind of larger capital allocators.
And I agree with you, Spencer. I also think that is distinctly the financial instrument side of the NFT market, which won't go away and is the equivalent of like, stock market, crypto market, fine art market, blah, blah, blah. But I do think we are inevitably going to see, again, the separation of entertainment products and financial instruments. And Gabe, actually, he's a gaming guy, right? So he's going the entertainment product way. So this is going to basically be the first instance where you see that bridge, which is what I was talking about before. I don't want to make the same point twice. Clemente, you had a question for Spencer.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a little bit of a theme this show in particular, and a little bit in the Web3 space as a whole, is we have two main catalysts for the first time ever where these big projects are going to try to take a swing at onboarding the masses. We have Doodles 2 and Digidaigaku. But I'm curious for the third, which is a little bit longer term, is the content and social media route. And I think one of the best teams that's doing that right now is Pudgy Penguins. On Instagram, they have almost 270,000 followers on Instagram. And there's no mention of NFTs. There's no mention of any of that. It's just cute penguins doing stuff. And I'm curious if that's something that over time will accrue value to the OG Pudgy Penguin holders, with that Instagram getting more attention over time. And the last thing I'll say on that is Spencer, if you're looking to buy into this dip, Pudgy Penguins, after topping out at 7.5 ETH, they're down to 5.5. Listings are up like 30% over the last 30 days. And I think they're going to continue to dip a little bit more. So I'm curious if you're eyeing that at all.
So yeah, I actually did buy a couple more penguins pretty recently. It's one of the few projects I'm picking up more of. And there's actually a very specific reason for that. I've always just been net bullish, and we hold a ton of penguins in my fund. We have since like that was a lot of what we were buying around FTX was penguins. But one of the big reasons was that if you look at penguins sold off a little bit harder than some other projects, which made a little bit of sense because they ran up. But there was one holder who dumped literally 200 penguins when ETH ran up, and the rumor was that he got liquidated on like ETH shorts. I don't know if that was true or not. He's like a big CT person, but I tend to like when I see one person selling off a lot, it's like, is that really a change in narrative from the overall view? I don't think so. I think that's one person selling. But in NFTs, especially in like the low liquidity environment we're in right now, right? Like one person selling 2% of a project like has a meaningful price impact. And so, if is it any failure of confidence from the whole community? I don't think so. It's literally one person who just selling some pangs, right? And so I'm curious to see. I think penguins have a pretty high volatility here in the sense of like they just went up to this sort of like blue chip range. There was some selling pressure from people who bought them at like literally like less than half an ETH, right? I'm actually surprised they haven't sold off more. But this is the thing that I'm talking about, where like if we have an environment where ETH stays stable, I think something like penguins could run back up to 7 or even above, right? That's the type of environment where like when there's low ETH volatility, those products do much, much better. Because they're at like even though they're down to 5 ETH in US dollar prices, I think they're at all-time highs right now.
All right, well, that's good to know. Signal has her hand raised, or is that an accident, Sig? Oh, go ahead, and then we're going to go to Benjamin after. Go ahead, Sig.
Rohan, it's on your point, Clemente, about content and it being the longer term path. I think you're absolutely spot on in the fact that just recently, like maybe last week, there was an article about Gary Vaynerchuk for the first time acquiring a content production studio, and they're going to be moving into original short and long form content. Now, like in this article, there's nothing about digital collectibles or nothing to do with his collection, but I don't think it's an accident at all. I think he, like, given his background, given how passionate he is about nostalgic IP going back to the 80s and 90s, He-Man, Thundercats, all that stuff that he talks about, you can see that with his own collection, he's going to go into like long and short form content hard. And I think a lot of other people are going to do this playbook as well. But he's doing it obviously at a studio level, and you're going to see more and more projects. You're you're going to see more and more projects take this route and take content very seriously.
There's something that's interesting about the people who are the strongest advocates of some of the best performers in social media. I mean, I think Gary Vee obviously has walked the walk, and then them saying we're gonna go set up a studio. I think there's something like almost ironic in that, because the whole point of social media is that the barrier is low and it's disrupting those more traditional production spaces, and so it's just like, well, why are they expanding into that area? Like why not make it perform on social media and use essentially the way that his agency is set up? I don't want to call his agency ragtag team, but I feel like social media agencies, like the model is very similar to an ad agency, lower paid, recent college graduates, give them experience working with Gary Vee, and then produce like decent content, but it's different than going and hiring a full-blown studio to do like a Super Bowl ad or something like that. And it makes me wonder, well, why? Like, is that the thing that drives value? Isn't it the social media stuff that drives all the value? I'm like confused.
I don't think they're exclusive, right? And Signal, I'll let you jump in here. Like, I don't think it's one or the other, but like, Mr. Beast, for example, what he does on Instagram, what he does on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, he spends millions of dollars on these videos. And the other thing that's interesting as far as Gary Vee goes is whenever you see him, like I saw him on a podcast like 2 weeks ago, nothing to do with NFTs, but he was rocking a VeeFriends hat, VeeFriends shirt, and like he almost tries to get eyeballs on it just to get the name like seared into people's brains.
Well, when you look at it too, they look very child cartoon friendly. Like VF2 does, and there's already a Twitter for it. It's called Vayner Watt. It's out right now. We talked about it a little bit this morning. It's about 2,500 followers on it. It follows one person. It dropped, I want to say 3 or 4 days ago. So that's something that I was looking at, because there was some anticipation to be a project until it came out that it's going to be a production company. But you look, and like he's already tapped in with the Macy's and Toys R Us collab being the first place that he launches the toys. it feels like it makes sense to see VF2 in some capacity. We've seen the animations already, and they're very fitting. Now VF1, those wouldn't really resonate very well as cartoons, personally. Some hand drawings, but I think VF2 would absolutely slap. So I think that's kind of the path forward that would make sense on ways that he could continue to grow that without shoving it in your face and being like, this is where we're going with it.
The VF1s are the fine art angle. So Ryan had his hand raised, but Ben has his hand raised longer. Ben, what's going on? Then we'll go to Ryan.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment a little bit on what was being talked about with the Pudgy Penguins, and I think Clemente made a great point about mass adoption not necessarily being about, you know, talking about the NFTs, but also like being able to provide a level of content that introduces people to the IP, and then on the back end realizing what they are. And Pudgy Penguins is doing a great job with that. I think Sappy Seals with their meme generator does a really good job with that. And you don't necessarily have to be talking about NFTs or digital collectibles, but putting it in front of people's faces so that they see it and it becomes kind of a household name without understanding even what the blockchain ramifications are, I think is something that's pretty meaningful. And when people look at Bored Apes, like they're just associated with NFTs. They're always in the mainstream media about it. So to have another avenue of visibility that isn't necessarily immediately tied to an NFT, I think is something that's pretty important in general. And the IP and the way that Luca's going about it and putting it in front of people's faces is something that's net bullish for the space, even if you don't actually have any investment in the Penguins themselves.
Yeah, I like that take for sure. Ryan, you had your hand raised, something to weigh in on. And I see Spencer has his hand raised again too.
I just want to thank you for letting me come on the show. I got to bounce and prep for the Daily Dose. So thanks, everyone. Love the show. Love being here. And we'll see hopefully anyone in New York area, hopefully see you tomorrow for the Daily Dose meetup.
See you in New York tomorrow. Clemente and Ryan. See you guys. Spencer, you have your hand raised. And thanks for coming to the show, of course. Spencer, what's going on?
Yeah, I feel like it would be remiss to have this discussion about like mass onboarding without like thinking about what do people do when they enter the NFT space, right? They come and they listen to NFT related content. And so like that's one of the reasons that I've always been so excited about you guys, Nifty Portal, about Rug Radio, about these different like Web3 native content brands, is that I think like a lot of adoption goes, okay, if someone gets in via something like Gabe's project, right? They get their first NFT, they're interested, something like Reddit, and they want to learn more. Where do they go? What are the vibes that they then experience, right? And I think that like a lot of that then trickles over to, okay, if we're bringing in more net people, where does people end up? They end up on Twitter. They end up in Twitter Spaces. They end up, experiencing the media that we have that's native. And so I think, it's interesting to see like what is the content being created? Does it make people want to come stick around? Is it interesting? Is it funny? So really like the most important thing I think to onboarding of NFTs was Tub Talk. And I think that we really don't talk about that enough.
Love it, Spencer. Well, hey, what if I told you that there's more Tub Talk coming with guests, and there's a lot of people.
Oh my god, for real?
For real. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to end up in that tub. Let me tell you that. Ladies and
with
gentlemen,
bubbles.
There's going to
feel underexposed. I don't know about everyone else.
There's going to be some bubble bath. Hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, today's show is actually surprisingly not sponsored by Tub Talk. Instead, it's sponsored by Rollbit. So go ahead and check out Rollbit. They have 2 successful NFT projects and have paid back $48 million to holders in rewards. They offer high-value loans on NFTs deposited. That's up to 80% on Bored Ape Yacht Club or Mutant Ape Yacht Club with 0% fees for 7 days. So all you degens want to get levered, that Rollbit is the place for you. They also offer NFT loot boxes where users can enter to win any NFT listed on OpenSea for a fraction of the price, including Bored Apes, including Nouns, including Wrecked Guys, and more. They have their own gasless marketplace where you can buy and sell NFTs. I mean, look, do I even have to keep going? Do I even have to keep going? Are you guys ready to check out Rollbit yet? If you want to be a casino degen, they got you covered. If you want to take out a loan against your NFT, they got you covered. If you want to do all sorts of fun stuff, they got you covered. So we got 20 codes for $25 to enter into Rollbit's NFT loot boxes. I'm about to drop the code right now. Check out the tweets that are pinned to the top for instructions if you have any issue. Oh, Nick was stretching. I thought he was doing an IRL hand raise. It's okay, Nick. We're almost done with the Rollbit read. Anyway, we have 20 codes, and here they come. The first code, or the only code that you need, the first 20 people are going to get this locked in, $25 for Rollbit for the loot boxes. The code is Nifty-Box-3821. Again, that's Nifty-Box-3821. 3821. That's for the loot boxes. We got the tweets pinned to the top for instructions on how to claim those loot boxes, how to use the loot boxes, all that stuff. Again, one last time, Nifty-Box-3821. Nick, it looks like you've really relaxed right now at this point in the show. I'm wondering, just what's on your mind, buddy? How you doing?
Well, I just got my high score on Dookie Dash. That's what's going on. I'm trying to see
during the show.
I was trying to see. I tossed it up there.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
You're pulling a Sam Bankman-Fried while we're interrogating you about fraud. You are playing Dookie Dash on the show.
That was what I was. That was what I was doing there. You caught me while we were reading that that ad read. Remember, 2-Bit Bears keeps giving us tips on how to read ad reads, and they just informed us that a hyphen is a dash.
Well, there you go. Nick, I mean, look, first of all, you can't contain your excitement. I also do want to say, Nick, I thought that your performance on today's show was exceptional. I mean, that's neither here nor there. Just wanted to throw it out there.
All right. Well, we're still live, so remember that. Maybe we can wrap the show.
Maybe. I was thinking we keep it going a little bit.
Here was the thing I was going to say. If you didn't go to the Nifty, go there. I got to go select one of those portals. I'm going to make a new dashboard so I can just select those more easily. But in the interim, I am going to go select somebody to win this. You still got a couple seconds. Head over to the Nifty, THENIFTY.com. MOUSE.
There you go. No one likes the MOUSE joke. There will be one winner.
You don't know that.
From the Nifty Daily Digest. So definitely make sure you go to thenifty.com to sign up for the newsletter. And Nick is going to give away a portal. Hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We really hope you enjoyed it. We do the show Monday.
Right now.
There we go. Who's the winner, Nick?
Drum roll, please. Jack Tarsh signed up April 27th of 2022. Longtime subscriber, almost on here for a year. Let's go.
Sounds good. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our show. We hope you enjoyed it. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. Make sure that you subscribe to the nifty.com, the newsletter. We appreciate everybody listening. It was a great show today. Shout out to